What's up, guys? Let's see, you got the... Alright, cool. Audio's working good. Alright. So we had a bit of a crash. A little bit. The first way I know is by the amount of DMs I get. If I get like 200 DMs in a single day, then something's obviously happening on the charts. And yeah, it was a little bit of a correction. So we had reached the value area high for this macro range that we've been in since November. November 19th from here to here. So this is the active value area that defined this value area high here. And we basically got compressed against downtrending momentum and had a double top that started the drop. So when that engaged the first drop, we had a bear flag off of the value area high, and that brought us to the neckline of a larger double top. And once that broke, we pretty much knew that we're at least going to the point of control at 95K. And we spoke about falling all the way down to about 92K, which is the strongest level of support that's within this value area, right below the value area low at 93K. And that level was kind of defined as strong support from this little demand zone here, where we generated a point of control that's been acting as a very strong level of support for this range whenever it deviates below the value area low here. And if we zoom in a little bit, we're on the hourly time frame. We dipped down, we SFP'd, so we had a local swing failure pattern here, and then we came up, got acceptance back above this downtrending momentum, used it as support, combated the value area, the value area's point of control, and then we just broke right back up. It's just a freaking whiplash, man. So this is in light of likely, we had the charts telling us that we're going to drop, but if you associate it to a news event, we also had the tariffs that just got announced over the weekend too, between Canada and Mexico. So there was a lot of fear in the market during that time, and we had a decent crash as a result. But yeah, it's Bitcoin. We're gonna recover. We still have the opportunity to potentially come back down and use this level as resistance, and that's when you truly want to be fearful, because then if we end up breaking past this value area low of this demand zone here, then we start seeing miners in a state of capitulation, meaning they're losing money, not making money anymore by creating Bitcoin, because it costs right now on average about $87,000 to create one Bitcoin. So if we get below that price, sell pressure usually diminishes from miners when we're below the price, and it usually increases when we're above that price. We haven't really been seeing miners sell very much at these levels. If we look at like the on-chain data, they're not really selling that much at these levels. They were selling a lot when we were range bound between February and October, right about here. Like they were selling off these tops relatively accurately. Like they were the start of this crash, and they were the start of this crash before the Japan carry trading crisis kind of started. But yeah, but around here they're not selling very much. They're holding. So, and their sell pressure is usually relatively tough. So I would say, based on Bitcoin's positioning right now, that we should expect another correction relatively soon, because we had an aggressive pump and we're almost already back up to the value area high after being at the value area low just yesterday. So I think that we're going to expect some exhaustion and then maybe have another correction back down. It might be a slower drop than we had for the pump, but when we get to these fair value gaps, it can speed up the drop a little bit. So I'm anticipating another correction around here very soon. We'll see how it goes. And then we'll look at altcoins positioning relative to that and see if we can get ourselves a good entry. A lot of things flash crash and then pumped right back up. I'm going to delete this. We don't need that anymore. That was for the double top neckline. But what we got in the chat? Kyle, should we buy the dip now? Well, this isn't the dip anymore. This was the dip. If you're below the point of control, I would consider that the dip for sure. But I wouldn't be buying right now. There might be some altcoins in a better position because when Bitcoin drops, they have a much more harsh reaction. You might see a lot of alts break some key levels. So some alts might be good to jump in on. So focus on the narrative when you're picking your assets there. We can go around. I can do TA requests and take a look at other assets as well and see if there's anything that might be positioned for a good buy, if it's not already too late on some. We're all out of dip. Yeah, we're all out of dip. We might get some more dip later. Let's see what we got in the chat. We got Tim. Hey, friends. What's up, man? Dylan. Have a good, safe week. Yeah. It's times like this that really reminds you that you need to be, really good with your risk management, because I bet there's a lot of people that got wrecked in this when they really shouldn't have. We had the opportunity we had 3-4 trade opportunities within this window here, and each one of them, as long as you had your stop loss in place and the proper margin within the account, within the trade, then you shouldn't have lost more than 1%, right? Does Kyle give you lumberjack vibes? Yeah, I got the whole... Yeah, I'm cold. It's cold here in Canada right now, so... DOT and IVL almost hit an all-time lows. Wanted to cry, but get some TIA. Yeah, some tokens might be in price discovery right now from that crash. And the ones that aren't, those are the ones you got to pay attention to. Like the ones that are have some relative strength, that gives you a good indication of what could happen next. Like some AI tokens if they have relative strength, or if you notice that some didn't drop at all, that just traded sideways a bit or didn't really move. Those ones have relative strength that you should be paying a lot of attention to. That could be good investment opportunities, because if they're not dropping while Bitcoin drops, but they pump while Bitcoin pumps, then you got yourself a strong asset. Let's see. I don't think you'll see DOT hit an all-time high. Yeah, there's going to be some tokens, for example, that have been around for a while, like Matic and DOT and Atom, that have new competitors in the space that are absorbing a lot of market shares. So not everything, it's not like it used to be with crypto where you kind of almost can assume that it'll hit an all-time high, right? Yeah, everyone had that mindset. But this time around, because of all the competitors, and there's literally 1 million tokens being created per week. So it's all that market share is getting absorbed into these new assets. So the old ones are getting siphoned away a little bit. Okay, so I got some TA requests in the chat. Let's see what we got. Ethereum. Let's look at Ethereum and DOT. Okay, cool. So I'm going to load up Ethereum chart. Okay. Leap is on. Why am I getting an ad? Let's see what's going on there. Oh my goodness. Ethereum. All right. So Ethereum came back below this legacy support, which is a pretty big deal. Let's zoom out a little bit. So this is a level that's been holding up Ethereum since June 2022, when it was at $880, and it's been holding us up quite a bit, and it allowed us to we used the confluence of this level to do an incredibly good long, and that we were hoping on holding that long position until we broke what we were assuming that could have been an inverse head and shoulders, right? We had the left shoulder here, the head here, the right shoulder here. But when we got below this level, we kind of invalidated this as an inverse head and shoulders. We lost this valley area low and plummeted quite a bit. And if we zoom in, And then what is that level from? Let me zoom out a bit. Oh yeah, the historical, yeah, the previous cycle's support level here. We're honoring that again from this drop. We've got a bit of a V-shaped recovery right now. If we zoom in on the lower time frames, we're on the 15-minute now. We had an ascending double bottom. We had this double bottom here. Broke the level, had active support, and now we're seeing continuations, and we're about to approach this supply concern right here. So we just got to watch out for this level. We want to see range activity up here inside this little red box. And then that range activity, we want to see a break of structure defining the continuation. If we see this act as a form of resistance, then we're likely just going to come right back down to this valley area high. So we want to pull a fixed range volume profile from here to the moment we exited this area. So we get the rejection and we break this level here. We might have another point of interest up here eventually, but if we get a rejection and we get the change of character, we'll likely come right back down to this level again at 2,600. And it'll likely happen in confluence with Bitcoin reaching its value area high up here. Ethereum has a lot of Bitcoin pairing liquidity, so we'll see Ethereum move relatively closely alongside Bitcoin the majority of the time. Well, that's Ethereum. Congrats to anyone who bought that crazy dip. That's a crazy wick. At least on this chart, it's a crazy wick. Just that percentage wick alone from that body on the 15-minute to here is 13%. That's just nuts. That's crazy for Ethereum. That's not very common anymore on Ethereum's charts. We'll see what happens. Right now, this is the key level that we want to watch out for shorts. But we might have a new one soon. We just need to have... We got 2 candle pullback and a higher high, and then we'll have a new level to watch out for. Well, that's Ethereum. We had a request to look at DOT as well. DOT I'm curious about. I haven't been able to look at DOT's chart. And the reason why I'm curious about it because I was preparing for a long position, but my alarm never went off. So obviously this crash kept us deviated away from that setup. Let's see. Zoom out. Yeah, we didn't want to break this level. We were talking about that. Oh no, that's the setup for the long over here. Delete this. Delete this. Yeah, man. Did we hit 4? Oh my god, we grabbed it. That's crazy. Yeah, we grabbed all the... So there was a lot of liquidity at $4. Like a ton of it. And we were talking a lot about that during our community group calls. And how like it's kind of like staring us in the face. And we didn't really think that it would be grabbed. Because we had to worry about like this level here being broken first. So we anticipated time. Like we'd have some time before needing to prepare for something like that. But yeah, this crash, we just grabbed it all and just... Now we're back up at $5.10. I'll show you what I mean when we're talking about liquidity. If we go to this chart here. So this is coinglass.com. It's free to use. They have liquidation heat map charts that you can use to help you with knowing potential bias of the market maker, right? Because where liquidity resides, they usually try to create influence to target those levels so they can use them as a tool to enter or exit the market. So in this case, with DOT, at $4, with all that liquidity there, would be entry liquidity. So let's zoom out. Let's go to the 3-month chart. And then wait for the buffer. All right, cool. So this is a 3-month chart. This goes back all the way to like November 6th. And out of all the lines that you're seeing on the chart here, think of it as locations where money is residing, right? Where people will get liquidated if price were to reach there. And we had a massive majority of the liquidity for DOT at $4. And we just scooped it all and then just went and skyrocketed from there. So that allowed market makers and institutions to enter at that price with a low amount of slippage and put in a large amount of funds into their position at that level. And we grabbed a lot more than what we added. So we'll have to look at a lower time frame to verify that for sure. I'm going to go to the 3-day. I want to see below the wick. It's not really... We can see quite a bit of liquidity was added here, but not nearly the amount that was taken. About 1/5 was re-added for new traders, and the rest was taken. That's crazy. But the positives of this is now you got to think of it like an axe like over your head. When there's lots and lots of liquidity right below you, you got to anticipate that the market might come after that eventually. So this is kind of an ease of mind for some DOT investors when you see that taken. So we have less of a reason to come back down to these levels if we were to return back up here. So I'm hoping that we get some more structure for, well, we will get more structure for DOT soon. But I'm hoping that we hover around here for a bit first before we get our entry on DOT, and then we can use that to get in a really low level without the worries of all that liquidity hovering below us. But the more we range in a certain zone, the more liquidity gets added from the order flow, right? From longs and shorts. Longs and shorts. And then the side with the heaviest amount of liquidity is usually the side that gets taken. Well, that's DOT. There's no real structure for us to go off of, but kudos to anyone who grabbed even a long position or bought any spot of DOT down here, because that's a crazy opportunity. Like from around that low to where we are now, that's 30% alone. But I think it's going to cool down soon. And probably in confluence, like I said, with Ethereum. It's probably going to happen in confluence with Bitcoin reaching around this value area high. It happens, but I'll be really surprised if we just broke right through this resistance and then started going to all-time highs. I'd be pretty shocked. But it's happened multiple times before in the past. But I'm going to anticipate... I'll be in bear mode when we're around here. I'll be preparing for shorts for sure. What do we got? Jasmy's looking promising, says Bogdura. Got your first snow this winter. Nice. I'm not a fan of snow, so you can take all mine if you want. Do you use AI for your YouTube thumbnail? I use a combination of ChatGPT and Photoshop. So I'll think of ideas and then I'll prompt it and I'll get an image of a random stranger and then I'll plaster my face on top of it. So I basically just take my face and put it over top of someone else's when I make the live thumbnails. But yeah, I find it kind of fun. I love the community likes it. And if you guys ever come up with like literally weird ideas that you think would be fun for like one of the live events, I will make a thumbnail off of it. But I've been making them in advance so I can have something ready for these lives and have something unique for each live event. And that makes it easier for you guys to scroll through if you ever want to like go back and look at some videos. They'll have unique thumbnails instead of just whatever they fill it with. So I'm going to look at Jasmy for Bogdera. He said it's looking promising, so I want to take a look and see what he means by that. And we have a coach in the community named David that loves to trade Jasmy. It's a big money maker for us. We got a big, decent crash. here. So it's still kind of inside of this descending channel. Let's get rid of some noise. But some of this noise is important though. Let's see, we got, I'm going to keep this value area data. I can get rid of this. Let's go to daily for a second. That's the level of interest, but we don't really need to pay too much attention to it. And this was our last big long on Jasmy. Let's delete that. What I want to do is update this properly over here. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to update this consolidative state here before we broke out, had to act as support and create a higher high to see if there's any more accurate, just make it more accurate to the current price action, see if we can use it as a form of support. We had it bounce off here before, and when we broke down with Jasmy to these low levels at 1.8 cents, got quick recovery back inside this level. I'm going to draw downtrending level of support. Adjust this. This is our current key area of interest on the daily, way up here. Let's zoom in on the hourly now. So on the hourly, but right now we're inside of a supply concern right here. So we had this impulse move, base impulse move. So that you should mark whenever you see situations like that where we have a fast move, consolidation, then a fast move, mark those as supply or demand zones. Demand zones if we're coming up, supply zones if we're going down. Because when we return to those levels, there could still be sellers trying to get out. And we're seeing some bit of a pullback price action here, but we've mitigated the whole thing. So there shouldn't be that many sellers left, if any. So let's see if we get a reversal around here. This is the momentum. This is the current area of interest right here for our shorts. But I think we're going to have a short-term correction here. We haven't confirmed it yet, but if we break this level, we'll likely come back up to this. We'll come back down, sorry, to this uptrending level of momentum, the support level, and then we'll see if we hit the continuation or not. But I could see that what you mean by opportunity. Like we're at crazy lows and we're in a descending channel. So we're going to have a downtrending point of interest as price action progresses, and we can use that when it breaks to target the highs as we grab all the stacking liquidity along the way up. So when eventually Jasmy decides to break out of this thing, statistically it should more likely break to the upside, but we could have a lot of pain until that actually happens. Like we could still keep going in this downtrend until eventually we break to the upside. But like statistically, these usually break to the upside. Doesn't mean that it has to, but I just mentally prepare for that. And the crappy thing about descending channels is you don't really want to be doing any position trades while they're active, because your average isn't guarded. Like your guard is this downtrending level when you're in longs. If you're in shorts, it's a whole other story. It becomes more and more guarded over time. So what I mean by that is basically, let's imagine if you were to enter like a short around, like let's say you entered a short around here after this head and shoulders broke to the downside, and you put your stop loss here. As time progresses, you're going to have this protect your capital, and all these strong highs protect your capital more and more and more as time progresses. Whereas if you were in a long position, let's say you entered along here and you wanted to try to like do this position hold for a long-term hold, your stop losses here. As time progresses, we're going to come down lower and lower and lower and just keep stopping you out. So it's best to focus on shorts until we break out of this zone if you're doing your short-term scalping, because your stop loss levels are going to be a lot more guarded in a trend like this, or a structure like this, sorry. So all I'm saying is make sure if you're doing longs, you just got to be careful holding them longer term and just focus on like the shorter term game, right? Just scalping only until eventually it breaks. See what we got. Can we get TA on Ruin? I just want to make sure I don't skip anybody. Let's look at Z. Yeah, ZEC was the next request. I don't think we have a Zcash chart. I'm just going to double check. Nope, we don't. Okay. We'll zoom in on Zcash from here. Binance. Let's look on the daily. Okay. We'll get delete these. Yeah, so Zcash was approaching this value area low, this previous value area low, and then we double topped against it, and failing to get acceptance into that value area, like here. Instead, we were just, looks like an undercut. We've got a bit of an undercut, and yeah, we double topped and broke to the downside, and then we lost the momentum, and we got the break of structure down below the momentum, and we came to this demand zone here. So we had this point of interest here that was, I wonder if we grabbed the liquidity below it. Let's see, I'm just gonna mark the magnet tool. There we go. All right, the low was 24.44. Oh, we tapped the exact price. Okay, that's crazy. So I don't think we grabbed any liquidity from below this level then. Might have scared some people out for sure. But I don't think we grabbed any liquidity from below there. We definitely grabbed some from below this level here. If we zoom in on the 15-minute. Let's turn off that magnet tool. So it's got, its positioning is kind of unique if you look at this compared to like Jasmy, right? A lot of assets are looking a lot like this. We're seeing them all get to supply concerns and levels of resistance. And Zcash is at its right here, but we're starting to get above it. So if we see this act as a form of support, then Zcash has some relative strength. We'll see what happens. We got this bit of a tweezer reaction on the, yeah, we got bearish engulfing candle here. It's a little bit of a tweezer reaction. So typically these start a short-term drop, and sometimes they can evolve into longer-term drops too. But this is a bearish sign right here, short-term. Like that could bring us right to here, just by seeing that. And if we break this level, then we can come to the momentum. Then we'll start looking at like the 5-minute demand zone here. We'll see. Yeah, so basically we're going to start forming some structure here, most likely for Zcash for a potential reversal. Let's see. LDO hit my target. Caught a beautiful long on that guy. Nice, man. Let's see, LDO. I'm going to try to get into the mind of Poyo because I kind of have an understanding of how you trade. So I'm going to see where you would have gotten in. So you got in at the low. Did you SFP this? So right now it's range bound. I didn't realize I did so much TA on this thing before. Alright, we can pull, we can update this. Yeah, Lido's definitely got some relative strength. It's just holding its range. I think Ondo would probably be doing the same thing. Get rid of some of this noise. We don't need this anymore. So we broke momentum. This is the daily. And we got our own little value area within the value area. So we're at a macro value area low. We just bounced off of and grabbed this liquidity here. Right? Skyrocket back up. And we should pull a fixed range for this zone too, separately, to see levels where we can be cautious, right? So as we get closer to the value area high, we should be focusing on shorts. It's also a zone where if you get that higher high and in confluence of that break, the macro point of control will likely just rotate at or above the macro value area high here. If we zoom in on the 15-minute, you can kind of see that's behaving a lot like everything else. It broke off this equilibrium point. We're getting a break of structure here. And we're approaching supply concern in confluence with a local value area high. Yeah. Local value high and point control right here. So I think it might have a bit of a pullback here soon. So I'd red box on this here, man. And I'm curious, I just want to pull a fib from this high to this low. Yeah. That's wild. Good job, man. Yeah, it might be a short-term trade though. Just based on everything that we're seeing here. We're approaching a supply concern in confluence with this uptrending level of momentum right here that could act as a form of resistance. Just a lot of confluences here, so just be cautious, man. Let's go back to the Bitcoin chart, see how it's pacing its way up here. And it's still going strong up here. So we just need to wait for that structural warning to get out or to prepare for a short. Have we done H-bar? We have not done H-bar. But I'm trying to accumulate H-bar, so I'm kind of excited about this crash. It's like Black Friday sales for investors. I was preparing for a long at these lows here, but we just never confirmed. We never got the change of character that I wanted, like here or here. We just kept getting lower. We lost the this valley area, and then we used a previous point of control here as resistance. And it was confirmed as resistance here. We got the lower low. And now we've gotten to a macro value area low here. Pretty wild. Zooming out. And we're trying to get where's this orange line coming from? Our previous point of interest, previous value area low. I need to adjust that to... Sometimes when I do things quickly and rush through some TA. Yeah, I won't label our things properly. There we go. So we're still holding above this demand zone here. We dipped down, bounced off a daily order block from here, and we had a strong bounce off of it. We also got the bounce off of that previous value area low. So we're still ranging inside this previous macro value area, and we basically just lost the point of control, the previous point of control, and the active value area low, and came down and hit the value area low from here in confluence with that order block. So lots of reasons to enter along down there if you're brave enough. When you see a crash like that, it's tough to be brave sometimes and just focus on the data. And we got the double bottom structure, broke the neckline here, and we got a confirmation of a continuation right here on the hourly. We zoom in on the 15-minute. Yeah, so this thing is still going to go strong a little bit. We broke into this supply concern here, but it doesn't look very strong. We kind of like blasted right through it when we had that momentum candle close. And a momentum candle, for those of you who don't know, is basically when you have a candle with barely any wicks, preferably without any at all. Yeah, then we got that break structure continuation, and we confirmed acceptance into the valley area when that happened. So we could rotate back up to this point of control here. And that's where I'll be super cautious again. We'll see how we behave in this supply concern, but I think that we're, depending on Bitcoin's positioning, we're due for still a bit more of a pump. Oh, we got, can we check FET? 70 people watching, should be 70 likes. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think our record's 103 consecutive watchers. And I appreciate everyone who's watching right now. H-bar people. Yeah, so that's H-bar. I wasn't at the charts when this occurred. Otherwise, I would have jumped in when we broke this double bottom neckline. Preferably this one here. We had that ascending double bottom structure. Yeah, when that broke, that could have been a great entry for a long. This could have been a warning to get you out, but then you can jump right back in and compound your gains from this and add it to this. If you're in on a trade, your stop loss would evolve from here to here. So your stop loss will be right about here the moment we had that break of structure. And when we have another 2 candle pullback into the higher high, you can evolve your stop loss below that again too. Just keep chasing it until eventually we hit a ceiling and we have a change of character that will knock you out in the profit zone with your stop loss. Hey Kyle, can we have a look at others' dominance? Yeah, I think it would be important for us to look at others' dominance together. And some on-chain data too. Because like what this technically does when we have these corrections, guys, it's actually pretty freaking healthy for the market. So this extends the bull market every time we range and stay range bound. It's like adding more time to the bull market and increasing the potential target higher and higher, because it removes all the people that are deep in profits and adds new investors that are helping keep the price more stable. Like looking at the on-chain data here, you guys can't see the chart fully or properly here. Let me see if I can No, you can't see it properly there. Let me just minimize a little bit so you guys can see my chart better. There we go. All right, cool. So this is the... I recently discovered this chart, but it's identical data to this chart here that helps me call the tops, like the absolute tops. This one here is on chain exposed. It's free to use. But basically when we get to the overheated zone, that's when you really got to pay attention to daily market structure. Because when you have a loss of uptrending momentum and a change of character, and we break it to the downside, when that happens inside the overheated zone, that calls the top. That is the top. Get the hell out. Like, sell everything, basically. And this chart gives me the exact same data, except it's a little more refined. Rather than saying overheated or opportunity zone, the opportunity zone is when this chart is at 100%. And the overheated zone is when this chart's at 300%. It's the exact same. It's taking the market value to realized value ratio and giving you a figure to prepare for an exit. So right here, we're at, when the price was at 104,000, this isn't all current data. Looks like it's only up until the 26th, and it'll update again tomorrow. But this is from when Bitcoin was at 104K. Up here. Right around here. And it's telling us that we're at like 243% at that price point. And it should be lower now, roughly around 236-ish. But when it gets to 300, that's when we're really preparing. And based on the distance of where we are to that level, we're expecting Bitcoin's top to be around like 140, 150K now. But if we keep ranging here, that target will be higher and higher. It could be 160, 170, the more we range and reset the market. It allows us to, it prevents the market from being overheated, basically. And when we have these ranges that are massive, like these are pretty big ranges percentage-wise, like from the bottom to the top, it's a 20% range. And the last time we had a range like that was over here, right? We had I think it was about a 20% range as well. From these like lows to these highs, it's 25%. So our range size is starting to diminish. And when we exit this range, the more, we want to consolidate more and more and more so we can keep resetting the chart and extending the bull market more and more. But this is definitely showing us signs that some alts will definitely not get anywhere near their all-time highs again. Okay, so request was next to look at render. So we'll look at render next. I can fix the chart now. Open. Oh, for those of you who might not know, the other chart I was looking at was into the block. That one's like $10 a month to use, but if you don't want to invest in a tool like that, you definitely don't have to, because chain exposed will give you a lot of macro data for free. This just presents it in a different way, that's all. And they do have more minor data, which is kind of helpful, just knowing when they're selling or buying. Or not buying, but selling, basically. Let's go back to, render chart. So render, let's go to the 6 hour for a second. Oh man, it got pummeled. Again, I was looking for a potential long, but we never broke that level. That's why when you're being patient and waiting for the proper levels to break can save your butt from those kind of mistakes. Where are we now? We are at this giant red line I added to the chart. Let's see why it's so important. Okay, so we had previous resistance, strong support bounces off of it, and we had another strong support bounce off it again. And we actually SFP'd as well. It's not closed yet, but we definitely, this is likely going to be an SFP. No doubt about that. When we grabbed all the liquidity from here, we had like a legacy SFP. So we grabbed the liquidity from below this level, and then you want your candle to close back inside the range, which you'd think would be a hard ask, but that's a 52% candle. That's nuts. That definitely reset the render market for sure, grabbing all that liquidity. And now we're trying to get acceptance into this previous value area again. Where's that value area data coming from? Gotta zoom out again. Oh, it's pretty historical. Okay. So it's core influence here, but it's not as core here because we had some price action transition through it. So we gotta take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. But I'm gonna leave it on my chart until it's disrespected. If it's disrespected, what I'll do is I'll add all this data here into a single value area and see where its value area low is, where its point control is probably still here, and where its value area high is, which would probably roughly around here. We might as well do it now. We'll just do it now while you guys are here. I know I'll just add more noise, but from here to the point of exit, right here. But yeah, point of control stayed the same. I figured it stayed the same. The value area low is right here, where this yellow line is. I'm going to change it to here. And I'm going to add the value area high over here. And rather than having this as a value area low, I'm just going to mark this as local support. Okay. And we'll zoom in again on the 15. But yeah, we just had another break of structure. Continuation here. After hitting that local support as resistance, we're getting above this supply concern. It's not a great one. And then we're at our next area concerns up here at the point control at 522. So we gotta prepare for potential resistance around here. Might see some slow climbs up, but this is definitely an area of concern you gotta prepare for a correction at. I would mark this as your current active momentum, the evolving momentum. This is the broad momentum here. So these are levels where you can anticipate to act as support. If we maintain this pace, we should be at the point of control within an hour and 30 minutes. And that's where I would be likely preparing for a short for render. So the first thing's likely going to happen because of this momentum. If we get up there within the same momentum pace, we'll lose it, get a pullback, and then you want to look for a change of character for a short. That's wild. Yeah, if you got even half of this, congratulations, guys, because that's 50%. Again, we had another double bottom here, and a more macro one here. And then we had the break of structure continuation off the supply zone. I'd watch this alongside of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's approaching its value area high now. So we're getting close to the point where you'd want to prepare for shorts. This is a 4-hour time frame. How long? What are the age? 11 hours. Age of this structure. A day and 20 hours. Okay, so if we end up having a continuation of how long it usually takes for us to have the correction or structure to form, it could take all night for us to get the structure that we need to prepare for that short. But these massive pumps, guys, they create gaps that make the price very inefficient. And so we're going to have a harsh crash again. Unless, of course, we break this high, then things will be it'll just be stupid. Bitcoin has done stupid stuff like that before. Won't surprise me, but with the way the economy is going, like I'm surprised we're having so much confidence in this pump right now. So, Mr. Smith, Solana breaking out, Bitcoin 100K, just another Monday for the largest liquidation day ever. Roller coaster, yeah, I hear you. Let's look at Solana then, if you're bringing up Solana. Solana's been pretty strong. Zooming out on the hourly, daily. Okay, so we got the high. Is that the new all-time high? Yeah, we got a new all-time high here. So 100% of holders were in a profit. So the correction was pretty much inevitable for Solana with this double top warning sign. We didn't grab the low, which is surprising. So we still have liquidity here. And we just added more below us here. Oh, we don't need this anymore. That was for the internal long. We had a double bottom long here that we were preparing for. And then this was the area of concern. And then it hit all-time high. If we get the momentum drawn from the daily, I really want to clear up some of this noise. We don't need that anymore. Don't need that anymore. We should rotate that to the new all-time high. Let's do it off the full body structure. And let's zoom in on the hourly. So we had an aggressive V-shaped recovery here. It's tough to see, but basically inverse head and shoulders on the lower time frames. It's not valid on the hourly, but it's valid on probably the 15-minute. Yep, it's valid on the 15-minute. So we had the descending inverse head and shoulders. Interesting. And we are now at pretty much the same location that we're looking at for render, right? We're getting close to a point of control. We're getting close to one as well here. Now there was a lot of noise on this Solana chart, so I don't know the significance of this point of control directly, so I'll have to look at that a little more thoroughly. But this is the current point of interest for a short, but we'll likely have a new one soon after we lose this momentum. So we had to have a 2-candle pullback and a higher high, then we'll have a new point of interest for a short. At least off my rules. Chill Guy meme coin. Brock. I'll look at the meme coins after these requests first. Kyle, I might have missed it, and if so, disregard, but can you do a quick macro look on what really matters today? Bitcoin closing above 100K, super. Yeah, we went over a little bit, but we just really need to stay up, like you said, we need to stay above 92K. 92K is extremely important. If we lose 92K, and we see that act as resistance, then we lose this macro valley area, and it could bring us to the lows of 87K. We have lots of liquidity down here, but not nearly as much as you think. We grabbed billions of dollars when we went down this time here. The largest majority of liquidity was from all the stacking liquidity from here and here and here, and it just kept compiling in more and more and more. And we had some here too. We still do. And we had some here as well. And we grabbed a huge majority of it here. And maybe a lot less fearful of a drop coming down to 87K. The miners capitulation state is at 87K, so we don't want it to come down to these levels, because some investors will look at the state of the miners and look at it in a bearish way. If they're at a state of capitulation, then they could be fearful and sell. But historically, when miners are in a state of capitulation, that's the best time to buy. Every single time has not failed for Bitcoin's investors. If you ever see miners ever in a state of capitulation, prepare to buy. It's actually a macro long signal. But yeah, now we're at that value area high. Let's see how we behave off of it. So we'll either see resistance off of the value area high or a lack of acceptance above it. That's statistically what's most likely to happen. It'll be shocking to see it just keep going above this level. Thoughts on Trust Wallet? Let's take a look. TWT. Yeah, looking the same as everything else, man. Let's zoom out a little bit though. See if there's any macro significance. We grabbed a lot of liquidity from below here. You don't need a heat map chart to tell you that. We had a lot of stacking liquidity from this uptrend. And we just grabbed all of it. Yeah, we grabbed all of liquidity from here to here. Let's zoom out a little bit further. We got some noise up here. I can get rid of that. It's from action over here. Okay, so we had base built here. So I'm gonna pull a fixed range volume profile from here to here. And we are currently resting barely above that value area high. We're not above it, sorry. Right below it. Very low, sorry. Get the point control. If TWL gets acceptance into this value area, sorry, not TWL, TWT. If we see this act as a form of resistance, then that's going to be crappy. We're going to end up seeing a range-bound price action below a value area is usually pretty scary because the moment you get a full body lower low, it confirms a continuation drop. But if we end up getting a higher high up here, an acceptance with a break of structure, could be an incredible long opportunity to prepare for a move to the point control and maybe even the value area high. Well, be mindful of these highs here. So we got these highs that could act as local resistance along the way up. Yeah, positioning wise, yeah, this double bottom would have been great to jump in on. This double bottom here didn't have a proper pullback on it, but we tested it as support. Now we're building like a regression trend, it looks like, to the value area low. Regression trends normally break to the downside, so just be cautious about that. And we're at a supply concern here in confluence with the value area low. So I don't know if we're going to get acceptance into it the first test, but when you have rejections near a zone, you got to remember liquidity is going to be added to the market during those times from short traders. You visualize the order flow. Where would they put their stop loss? Where what's the highest point where liquidity could be added? And that actually will help support the break to the upside if we have a little bit of a correction here. Maybe we're back to this neckline or maybe back down to these lows before breaking to the upside here. But I'd definitely be preparing for more of a swing trade hold for TWT. And of all the ones that we've looked at, TWT actually looks positioned to be the most healthy long position. But with Bitcoin's current positioning being at the value area high, I'm anticipating that this is likely going to act as resistance because of that confluence. With Bitcoin's at its highs and these are at its lows, we could end up getting rejection off this value area low. Bitcoin's at 101. And we're getting that rejection now. See if we get a higher high soon or not. There's a clean tweezer on the hourly and the 15. It's engulfing on the 15. Oh, I wonder if we get a she high alert. Get invite only. If you get a tweezer top. So there's this really crazy indicator that if you get a she high diamond on top of a tweezer top, it's just crazy good confluence. So we'll see if we get one. We need a red diamond up here above this location. And what that does is basically is doing comp analysis on the UST dominance chart to give you confluence in preparing for longs or shorts. So like green dots, prepare for longs, right? And red dots, you prepare for shorts. So if we get a red dot in confluence with a tweezer reaction at a value area high, usually gives really good results. And then you just use the active high that was created as your stop loss guard. So if you're wrong quick. If you're right, you make good money. Ottawa Valley. Oh, nice. I was just in Ottawa yesterday doing a birthday party for my son at Fun Haven there. Pretty cool. Do you have a link to the Shihai indicator? 1 second. I technically don't. But I'm in a conversation with the creator. I got a discount for everybody. Where is he? There he is. Okay, the link he gave me was to his Discord, but it's an invalid link now. Timed out. I can get you guys a link. Just gotta, I wouldn't say message me in Discord because there's a lot of impersonators, but I can edit it into this live description the moment I get the information from Mario for you guys. You create, but it's a lifetime package deal. He created it. Yeah, I believe the standard price is like $800 for life. The discount I got everyone's $200 off of that. So it's just a matter of like whether or not you are prepared to make that investment. It comes with 5 different indicators though. What do we have in here? Can we look at FET? Yes. So Nomad. Wants to look at FET. I don't think we have a FET chart. Nope, but we can look it up. So FET, USDT, I guess Binance. Yeah, double bottom structure again. Descending this time, a little bit unique, but that creates bullish divergence. Zoom out on FET here on the daily. So the daily, we can see that we swept this liquidity here, which is great. It's a good sign for a strong potential continuation up. That candle is massive. I'm curious about this one too. 30% drop. Pump into, 40% pump. But yeah, right now FET is inside our previous demand zone right here. And we're kind of trying to get acceptance into that value area where I'm anticipating for it to very likely range. We were kind of thinking that FET would come down here anyways. So this drop with Bitcoin kind of just enhanced the speed. Like Bitcoin's drop just enhanced the speed for us to get down here. And we're likely going to be range bound until we meet this momentum here. And that's where we'll prepare for a very good long. If we get the structure that we need, we'll get the structure no matter what. But if we get our core area of interest, once we have a strong rejection around these levels or at this value area high or whatever, we're going to have that really good long position set up to allow us to target. Oh, 1 sec. I keep getting the brush out. It allows us to target these highs again, while being mindful of this point of control, this value area low, and this previous point of control along the way up. And what's that suggest? That's like about a month. It's suggesting us to range. Let's see what kind of structure we get. But where it's positioned and the liquidity that's grabbed is technically bullish. This is a great spot to prepare for longs. And if we get that confirmation roughly around the previous value area high, then we could still, we could double our money from this trade. That's crazy. Yeah, so I'm going to have a close eye on FET because that's a wild opportunity that I don't want to miss. Just double your risk without the use of leverage. When we factor in our stop loss, putting our margin to work, and our actual leverage, our percentage gain should be pretty good. But the most important thing is where you put your stop loss. Make sure your money's being put to work. If the red dot indicator confirms Bitcoin community signal short, I don't. Yeah, I'll do that for this particular setup, but I don't normally use it for our signals. It's just really cool for confluence. I'm trying to build a strategy off of it, but the only rules that I've been able to find that are really profitable so far, that are easy, because I want to make a mechanical based strategy. I don't want people to have to depend on learning a whole bunch of stuff to be a trader. I want to try to make a strategy that's like, if you know just these 3 or 4 rules, then you can be profitable. So I've been trying to use Shihai for something like that. And the one rule I found, like if you see a tweezer bottom reaction or a tweezer top and the tweezer is engulfing, the confirming tweezer candle is engulfing, then, and you see a Shihai diamond and confluence with that, and it's at a value area high or value area low, it has a crazy high win rate and crazy profitability. This is not an engulfing, but we definitely had a tweezer top kind of reaction, a flat top reaction. So it's a form of lack of price acceptance. So we got a dot forming now, but it hasn't confirmed yet until this candle closes in 15 minutes or 13 minutes. Pretty cool. Can we look at Filecoin? Yeah. Oh yeah, my young lad loves it there. But what 5-year-olds don't? Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, my son's 10. He freaking loves it. If we look at Filecoin, do we have a Filecoin chart? No. Okay. I might have spelled it. Yeah, the ticker is FIL. There we go. We'll look it up at, we'll use Binance. Yeah, it's looking like everything else. Let's zoom out on the daily. Oh, grab liquidity from these lows. Why do I have a giant green box? Oh, okay, I have a Fibonacci tool retracement. I really want this level to break. When we were starting to go up there, right? We were starting to go up there, and then we had a lack of acceptance off the value area high. You can see what I mean here. We came down, we tested it, but we didn't create the higher high. If we create that higher high, then that confirms the value area acting as a form of support, and we likely start moving to a new value area from that, or creating a new one. And that would have been a great tell to prepare us for this break and gives a crazy high target, but we never accomplished that break and grabbed all that liquidity from there. And that's all buy side liquidity we could use to pump us up, but we didn't grab it. Let me delete this. It's still a viable location though. But now it should be semi easier for us to get up there with the liquidity that's stacked here now as well, and here, and here, and here. Our last little play was this long from this location here. This is the level that we wanted broken, right? If we broke that, you'd have your stop loss here, and you target the value area high. Or if you wanted to wait for the pullback, we just did cold and pocket retest and then ran off from there. If we zoom in, we could move this a little bit lower, and we can adjust the value area to include the new candles. There we go. Oh, we gotta move that right back up. So Filecoin's in a crazy good spot to prepare for accumulation. Like crazy good. But what we don't want to see is a value area acting as a form of resistance with a break of structure. So if we came down, retested, break of structure, be very, very cautious. But this is an insanely good spot to prepare for accumulation. And if you want to make sure you're jumping on a position of strength, like I usually do, like you want to have structure to define a point of interest and then jump in on that. You might have been able to get that from here. If you got, this was your point of interest, break above. If you're really cautious, you would wait until we got acceptance above the VWAP. But right now, yeah, it's in a supply concern. Bitcoin's at a value area high, so we might see file come down a little bit first. And if when we do, we'll have a point of interest that we could watch. And when that breaks, we could potentially jump in if we get that level acting as a form of support. And that could, yeah, you could get yourself up to 550 from there. But yeah, file's in a good spot, man. Thanks for bringing that up too. Might just buy some soon, yeah. You can almost 2x your money. Alex Rewind was looking at that prior. Yeah, I was looking at Solana already. I'm sorry, buddy. But you can take a look at the Rewind. I need to like get AI to review the transcript for these lives, so I can create chapters for you guys. So if you want to review the TA, or if there's anything I might have said that might help you learn, I can get chapters all embedded into the videos after we're done the lives. Because we go through a lot of assets. We go through tons of them. If you were here in 2017, you'll know a better opportunity, in my opinion, is Seia coin with 15kx. I don't know what you mean by 15kx, but I'll see if I can find Seia coin. Okay, so it's at a macro support level that you definitely don't want broken. Try to keep this flush with the full bodies here on the daily. Like its positioning is a location where you definitely want to prepare for longs, but you also got to be cautious. Like if this macro support level acts as a form of resistance, we'll be coming after these lows again. And it looks like it 2x'd since the start of this momentum from where we are to where it is now. Jeez, yeah. Getting squeezed. Evolving momentum. Zoom in on lower time frames. Not the 5. Let's go to 15. See, it's looking a lot like everything else. It's in a supply concern. Getting a bit of rejection off of it. Its market structure is a little bit weak, but we got a level here of interest. So we might find a better location, but if we get a 2 candle pullback and a higher high, we'll get a new location for our short. A short-term scalp. But macro-wise, so we built structure here to allow us to have a stronger reversal. Like this is honestly a good spot to prepare for a long too. So similar to Filecoin, except I feel more confident with Filecoin's level than I do with Seia coin. Where can we see on-chain data for miners selling? You can use Into the Block. I haven't used Into the Block for that specific reason yet, but this is the miners volume share right here. So you can see that, oh, you can't see it. 1 second. Let me just make this small again. There we go. Now you can see a little bit better. So on Into the Blocks page here, to find this page, just so you can find it fast, this is the home page right here when you're on Into the Block. And you click on Bitcoin cycles on the top left. And then here you pretty much get all like on-chain data for Bitcoin using this tool. And if I zoom in, scroll down a bit, this shows you where they provide the most volume. And volume from miners is selling volume. They're not buying, right? They're creating it, so they're going to be selling it. So here we have a lot of volume from them during the previous range when we were at between 70K. Yeah, between like, it was like around like 50K and 70K, right? From February to October. Lots of selling volume. And then we had a bit of a spike of volume when we reached 99,000. So they were pretty much creating, it looks like they were creating the front run to 100,000. They sold some there. And then they haven't really given us any volume since. So most of the selling volume that we're seeing right now, based on this data, is telling us that it's mostly retail. So this is kind of like a shakeout event from retail, likely from the tariff news, people emotionally selling, in confluence with the actual structure telling us that we should sell too. So we had traders reacting and a lot of retail investors reacting from, like a trader's reaction would be this double top right here. That was the start of this crash. And then retail will probably follow up with the volume when the tariff news came out on Saturday. But we're right back up here again. Most likely from institutional involvement. And so we got new investors taking the old investors' money, stabilizing the price for Bitcoin a little further. But I believe that here we're likely going to see some sell pressure again. What else we got in the chat? Oh, is there a discount? Yeah, oh, you're talking about the Shihai indicator. Yeah, I got you. Anyone a part of the community basically has like or is following me on YouTube will have access to the discount of like $200 off. I don't get anything from it, but yeah, you guys can save some money there. Can we take a look at Avax? Yeah. The chart's incomplete. Look up Kraken with... Okay, you're talking about the Seia token? Seia. Am I spelling this thing wrong? Seia coin. There we... Ah, come on, man. Yeah, I was spelling it wrong. I don't know what's going on. It's not showing me the... What's going on, Kraken against the US dollar. SC. Okay. Not just Y. It's using the wrong ticker. Liquidity doesn't look great on Kraken, though. You can tell by the candles are a little shaky. Gaps. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's a big difference. A lot more price action activity. Well, the gist of it's still the same, man. It's still a really critical level of support. Yeah, it's still a critical level of support, and the TA is basically the same. Except the thing that makes me feel a little bit safer is that we have a massive demand zone below us. So if we came back down, it won't go into price discovery. It would be able to stabilize, probably get buyer's interest around these levels again. If we got down that low. Hopefully we don't. But this thing's getting squeezed for like a really explosive move. And that squeeze event is... Oh, I don't think it'll... I wonder how long it would take for that to actually break. Because we're at about the 30% marker, so maybe we can see it break out soon. If we start consolidating here again for Seia coin, and then we break this neckline of resistance for the double bottom to start the spark for a larger move to here. And the... You know, for being conservative about it, it could go to $1. That's intense. We'll see what happens. I don't know anything about this project, so I don't know if that has any merit. But that's this thing's got a lot of age to it. It's been around since 2016, so I'm really surprised I'd never heard of this, or I at least haven't done like a crap ton TA on the charts. I'm going to look into that, because if that target plays out, it must have some decent backing, some utility. What else we have here? Avax was another request. So we'll load up that chart. Avax. I bet it looks like everything else. Let's see what happens. It looks like I was looking at the 3-minute chart, so I was scalping it. Let's go the hourly for a second. Yeah, so our warning for this was the head and shoulders. So we had the head and shoulders, the confirmation. This was the confirmation candle right here. Let's zoom you guys in. Here we go. And that was the... Where are we now? So you hit $21. That's crazy. And we scoop below that low. Oh yeah, it looks like we were also preparing for an SFP here, but it never confirmed. It just went right through it. We can delete that, so we don't have that opportunity anymore. right, since we've closed this candle inside of this range, we should pull a fixed range volume profile from it. Okay, we support, fall in, okay. And acceptance out here. We got value high. Value point control. And we got value low. And we zoom in on lower time frames after we adjust these a little bit more. Let's go the hourly first. Alright, so we came in, bounced off the point of control, got the break structure continuation, and fell right to the value area low. So that was a good short opportunity potentially there. And then we had retraced our way back up to the point of control, where we're starting to see a little bit of a tweeter reaction again, similar to what we were seeing with Bitcoin, but we got bought up a little bit on Bitcoin. This is the hourly candle, so it'll take some time for that to confirm. Let's go to 15. So we're starting to create. Yeah, if we get a lower low. This is our local support slash active strong loan zone. Since we broke this structure here, we came up, pulled back to at least 2 candles, got the higher high, break structure continuation. We kind of like went to this supply concern and got slapped right back down. And we're still resting around the point of control. So like I don't like trading near points of control, but sometimes they will provide you really good confluence. Like us meeting it as resistance, maybe creating it a head and shoulders, losing the support level, losing the momentum, losing the point of control, and then using the shoulder or the high, depending on what kind of structure we get, as our stop loss guard and target down here at 25.60. And let's say we got the bounce before we got the short. It could be 1 to 2-ish, but we needed something better. Still double your money, but or double your risk. Yeah, nothing yet. But yeah, we got basically whiplashed around this previous value area, so we'll see how it would behave. And once we get a change of character, I would start drawing a new value area here as well. But we need this to break first. Once that breaks, I would start pulling a fixed range volume profile from the high above the change of character to the active price action. Can you look at Dgen? Yeah. Thoughts on a Brett short? It's Brett. Brett, the meme coin, eh? We can look at Dgen after Brett. Oh, someone also brought up virtuals. And virtuals is something I want to invest in. If you're trying to find an AI agent token, not financial advice, but virtuals is like top 2, and it's a launch pad for AI agents. So it gets a lot of attention every time an asset that was built off of it does really well. So it kind of gets carried from all the other AI agents that are built off of it. We've got Bybit. It's got really good liquidity of it. So I'm going to look at Bybit's chart. I wonder if we have a virtuals chart. Let's see. We don't. Okay. Virtuals is building a... Oh, it's got a bit of an inverse head and shoulders on the hourly. And we lost that low. We got the break of structure continuation after hitting the value area low as resistance. You got the lower low, brought us back down to this demand zone, and we're holding off of it as support right now. If we zoom in, we're kind of got an inverse head and shoulders posture, but we're getting smacked down from this supply concern right here. So there could be a short opportunity as well here too. We are got higher high on the price action, but we're starting to generate lower lows on the RSI. So when we get a break of this level, oop, my bad, didn't mean to do that. Break of this level, it'll confirm the bearish divergence. And we got, this is our key area of interest for a short. Structurally, this looks a lot more easier to short than all the other stuff that we looked at because it's kind of like ahead of the game. Short position here, here. I get a lot of messages right now. Just hearing it going in my ears. Yeah, I faded virtuals last September when I first heard of it at 32 cents. Oh, good job. You faded, or you invested in it? Like, I think it's a great asset. And now that we're at these lows, like, this is a good time to prepare to invest. Just got to make sure that you're jumping in when we confirm the reversal and not jumping in when we continue to go down further, right? Because that's the worst. Thinking that you're at the low and then you jump in just because we're at lows rather than like confirming off of a position of strength. What do we have for momentum? We have this downtrending momentum here. So if we maintain that pace, we can end up getting rejections here again or here. And then you want to jump in when we break a key area of interest and start grabbing all the liquidity along the way up. But yeah, the 15-minute time frame is a good spot to prepare for potential shorts. But like we're right at a value area low. So if you had that confluence, I'd rather wait for a break of structure to confirm this level. You'd have much better stop loss guard and you'd make a lot more money being more patient for that kind of setup. Okay, how many times have I jumped in because it's so low, probably won't go any lower. That's been my, yeah, I hear you, man. I think everyone makes that mistake at least once as an investor. You look at historical data and you think, oh, this is the best time to buy. It's when it gets to these lows, it's usually we usually bounce off the range lows, but it doesn't mean that we'll actually bounce off them because we're there, right? You never want to leave open limit orders to buy an asset unless you're planning on holding it for like at least 4 years. Okay, so that's virtual. That's a decent setup too. But yeah, the safest play, because we're at a value area low, is to break, wait for the break, then the retest, then the break of structure. And you might think because the price is lower that you'll be making less money in a short, but it's not the case at all. If you're using your stop losses properly and using proper risk management, and you're risking to lose $100, let's say you use this as your top target, and you're targeting this low here where all this liquidity is in case it's being used as buy-side liquidity to reverse it. Let's say you jumped in around here, and you risk to lose $100, you'd gain 138. So in a scenario like that, you wouldn't even take that trade because you want to have at least a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. But if we instead got like a break of structure and continuation, you'd risk to lose $100 to gain $200. So if the risk to reward ratio isn't there, never take the trade. No matter how accurate you may feel, even if it hits your target after the fact, you shouldn't feel bad about not taking the trade because you want to be consistent as a trader. Always aim for a 1 to 2 or greater, preferably greater than 1 to 2, because you got to think about your net R&R as well. If you close your trade halfway through before hitting its target because you saw maybe a bounce and you're nervous about it taking you out, you got to hold through that, because if you close your trade halfway through here, your net R&R is going to be a lot less than 1 to 2, and then your losses are going to outweigh your wins. All right, Brett was the other request. Check out Solana against Bitcoin. It's loving that 800 EMA on the daily. Yeah, it should. If it doesn't like the 800 EMA, then I would be nervous. But the 800 is pretty reliable. The 300 on Bitcoin is really reliable too. And Bitcoin daily. I'll show you guys a chart that I use all the time to prepare for buying the bottom. You have to use it in confluence with on-chain data, but it's really helpful. Right, it was Brett. Right, so we'll look at Brett. And where are we going from here? Brett, Bybit's got a lot of good liquidity. So let's use Bybit's chart. If you're a scalp trader, Bybit's great. Barely any spread. I just can't. I'll be using it, but I can't use it because I'm Canadian. So I got the boot from regulations. We delete that. But now, you guys, when you're picking your exchanges, you always want to pick the ones that have. You don't want to pick them based on fees. I go crazy inside when I hear people pick their exchange based on fees. You got to pick it based on the reserves. Like, are the funds actually there if you want to withdraw them? That's the most important part. And you want to make sure that the exchange isn't going insolvent. And you can find that out by looking at their reserves. Every day, as part of my morning routine, is I look at the reserves of all of our core exchanges that the community uses, in case there's anything that I see that makes me concerned, so we can all leave the exchange before something chaotic happens. And because you don't want another FTX event. You don't want to be putting all your money in something and then have a withdrawal limit of only like X amount, and you find out it takes like 5 days just for you to be able to withdraw all your funds, and then they go insolvent and steal all your funds. And so pick your exchange based on your reserves, on the reserves. And I use Blowfin because of the reserves. They're my top used exchange. Before it was BitGet, and BitGet uses they have like 200% of what they need. So BitGet's really great, but regulations booed me out of that too. So I'm using Blowfin for that reason. They have incredible reserves, and they listen. If you ever ask them to potentially add something, they'll build it. The developers will listen. It's kind of cool. So I definitely recommend Blowfin. I'm not sponsored by them, but we got so Brett is getting his butt kicked. So we lost this macro value area that was pretty important for it to hold, and it's a meme coin, so my level of caring isn't really there. But I feel bad if you're a holder of this. But now we're approaching not the value area low, but a previous level of support that can act as a form of resistance. And you want to mark both the bodies and the wicks, but the bodies are the most important part you want to mark when it comes to resistance, because that was a form of price acceptance at that time. The wicks are important for the liquidity where it was resting. But yeah, so I would mark this as an area of interest. Local resistance. So it's got some relative weakness for sure. Like Brett is further down from its value area, its core value area, than the other assets that we were looking at it. So this thing took technically a harder hit than the other assets that we were taking a peek at. It's currently at a supply concern right now. We got a relatively decent V-shaped recovery, double bottom on the 15, a larger ascending double bottom on the 15 as well. Now we're trying to mitigate this supply risk, and I think because we're building a regression trend, right? Another regression trend and bearish divergence, that we're likely going to see a correction down to at least 57 and 59, which is a pretty small drop, but it could be a spark for a larger move to the downside. But yeah, regression trends, whenever you see them, these ascending channels like this, that targets the bottom side of the channel. So if we break, we'll probably have to use the 5 minute. Yeah, the 5 minute looks like it's the best part. This is our key area of interest right now. If that breaks, we're likely just going to come right down to here. And if you manage to get like a decent bounce before coming down, even though that's a really tight move, it could be a good short. As long as the risk reward ratio is there. Yeah, and if we fall back and we use this level as a form of support, the supply zone here can act as a shoulder. And we could end up getting a inverse head and shoulders for a stronger recovery for Brett. But right now, the posture is short-term bearish, unfortunately. Are they ascending wedges with dwindling volume? We have to pull up, let's see. Yeah, the volume is reduced for sure. These ascending, you're talking about this? Or are you talking about the ascending, regression trends? If the volume is dwindling, this here, yeah, this has got dwindling volume for sure. And that just tells you that the confidence of the buyers is starting to fall with it, right? So if we get closer and closer to a level of interest, let's say it's this high right here, we could grab the liquidity, SFP, and an SFP could be an entry, or you can go on the change of character. So if the volume dwindles, you should look around, look left immediately if the volume is starting to dwindle. Either go to the downside or the upside, because that means you're usually near a point of interest that is reducing the confidence in traders. And it's very, 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 very common on falling wedges and rising wedges. If you see a strong area of interest to the other side. Either it be a support on the falling wedge or resistance on a rising wedge. I'm asking about regression trends and how to identify them. Okay, I got you. Yeah, regression trends. Here's a good example. I will look at Bitcoin. And let's look at, oh, that 5 minute chart does not look good. Let's see. And let's go back to the daily. And let it load. There we go. I love trading regression trends because I'm fairly long bias. So if I see a long bias move, I usually take it. So here's a really good regression trend right here that was happening on Bitcoin back in October 2023. I remember this one so vividly because I just enjoy trading regression trends. Because what's usually happening in the background is people are being really dumb with their shorts. Like really dumb. They're adding a large amount of money and they're jumping in without a confirmation. So imagine a bunch of people enter a short here and then price action will come up, grabs the liquidity, right? And then again, a large amount of people enter a short. Price action comes up, grabs the liquidity. And regression trends are usually the result of people being too aggressive with their shorts while buyers are confident in that level at the same time. So it's a market maker heaven whenever you see these regression trends. And I know that usually sounds bad because the market maker is the enemy, but you should be using the market maker as a tool. If you can get your head inside of the mind of a market maker and you focus on where the liquidity is at, then you're going to be a lot better trader because of it. So you look at the heat maps for Bitcoin or for whatever asset you're looking at and see where all the liquidity is resting. And if you find that there's a whole bunch above here and we just had a pullback, where there isn't very much below you, then we tend to just keep grabbing more and more and more along the way up. But they do typically, this one broke to the upside, they do typically break to the upside from buyer's exhaustion. So statistically, prepare for the break to the downside, but they can obviously still break to the upside. Just like a falling wedge can still break to the downside, or a rising wedge can still break to the upside. It's awkward, but it happens. And that's why you got to wait for the key levels to break before you jump in on your positions. And don't jump in on assumptions. Sui OM. We can look at Sui. We haven't looked at that one yet. I do got to head out soon, guys. Got to finish a project. Sui is building a double top. I got a level of interest mark there, but that might be a coincidence. Yeah, that's a coincidence. As for a short, it looks like over here. So I'll delete that. What we did, where that line was drawn, was a previous level of full body support. So I'm going to pull a fixed range from, well, we got acceptance into here again. So I'm going to pull from here to here. Okay, so we use this valley area low, this valley area as resistance. And we broke this low here, confirmed it, and we dropped down to the bottom of this demand zone here. So I'm going to mark this valley area from here to here. So we got previous valley area high, previous point of control, and previous valley area low. We zoom in, see how it behaved off of it. Right, we got the acceptance into the valley area here. So when price actually came up, hit it as resistance, got a lower low. We got acceptance on the 15-minute time frame. Yeah, 15-minute time frame. The reason why I said 15 and not the hourly, by the way, for anyone who was confused by that, is you want to have at least a 2-candle pullback before defining a break of structure on the time frame you're looking at. And right now, we're at the value area high again after having a really aggressive recovery on the 15-minute for Sui. So Sui is looking short-term bearish. So we had a really good recovery here, but now we're building a double top. And yeah, so this is our core area of interest right here. I would wait for a break of structure retest because we're near a point of control. But this is a good spot to prepare for short. Right now, we didn't grab this high, so we can't consider this a change of character. So I'm going to be using this high here as my stop loss. You can target this base level of previous resistance that could act as support. We don't have the proper risk to reward ratio, so when we come down, and very likely use the point of control as support, come back up, hit this as resistance, and then get a lower low, and lose the point of control, and confirm this double top with a break of structure continuation, we'd have a much better risk to reward ratio. Depending on like how it plays out, we'd have like a 1 to 2.5. So we'll be risking to lose $100 to try to gain $250. So this is gonna be a patience one, and this does suck when you're a confirmation trader rather than a breakout trader, but it's going to increase your win rate dramatically if you're patient enough to wait for those breaks of structure. And there will be times where it just breaks and then just keeps going down and doesn't give you that retest. But it's worth missing the opportunity than it is to be inconsistently jumping in on breaks instead of a confirmation. your risk reward, your net R&R at the end of the month will dramatically thank you for it. So this is our key area of interest right now that we need to have broken, but I still would rather you guys wait for a break of structure continuation. Oh, we missed Dgen. Sorry, I will look at that. So Dgen spot Bybit. I'll do that. Regression trend into a supply concern. Right here. Let's see. Zoom in on the 5 because this regression trend's really awkward. We're building a double top inside the regression trend for additional confluence. But I want to zoom out because I don't think I've done TA on this. Oh, okay, I have. All right, so looks like the last time we did TA on it was preparing for this massive short. We have this double top. This was the neckline here. We have this uptrending momentum that if you're a holder, you definitely don't want broken because that momentum's been holding it up since it was at a micro penny, right? And then it climbed all the way up 10x to 2 cents. Or is that more than 10? That's crazy. Yeah, it went up 10x and then we got a correction, the double top, and now we're right back to where we almost started. And we grabbed the potential liquidity that was resting there. But with an asset like this, I highly doubt that liquidity is still there. The traders probably left. That was a huge pump there, though. But yeah, we have a local price action potential move here for a short. The macro pump that you'd want to have, like this is the downtrending point of interest right now. Like the same way we prepare for a short when this breaks, we prepare for a massive long when this breaks. And I don't know much about Dgen, but for it to move 1,000%, it's got to be a little bit Dgen on its own. Yeah, that's crazy. That's just in 60 days. And we had this correction. We confirmed the correction here. So it's been going down for 60 days. So let's see. We'll probably likely be range bound for a bit at these levels for another 50 or so days. Right now, the daily point of interest is way up here. But we might have a new one soon. Within the next, when I say soon, I pretty much mean within the next like 2 to 3 weeks. But yeah, same kind of play as what we were looking at before. Regression trend will probably bring it right to here. We have the confluence of the previous resistance off this neckline, as well as the target for the regression trend being in the same spot. So I'd prepare for it to top out either here or within here. What's Bitcoin doing now? USD dominance is pretty high. That's the way that double top confirmed on the 5 minute. Yeah. We broke that little double top on the 5, but when's the 5 minute? I would rather wait for the retest. I think we're still going to continue up a little bit into this zone. Anyone should try 400x leverage once in. Yeah, if you're going to try 400x leverage, make sure you're only risking to lose $1 or something. That's basically gambling. What do you need like a 0.004% stop loss guard before you get liquidated. That's nuts. That's why we love your leadership style. You truly cover checkpoints of safety reserve. Yeah, thanks, man. I see AR hasn't done anything yet. Only if you have time left. We can look at AR. What do you mean it hasn't done anything yet? Did it not drop? AR. Binance. Oh, that's a 5. Let's go with the daily. Okay, yeah, definitely dropped. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So AR, yeah, our last trade was this long. We got below this local demand zone right here. We fell inside of this base right here. But this one's pretty big, so I'd mark a fixed range from here to here. I'd mark the value area high of these highs here. So previous value area high. I should start using hotkeys. I can save you guys some time. Okay, well, yeah, we bounced up that value area high. We're still honoring that as support. What we want to see is acceptance back inside here before the daily candle closes in 3 hours. Because that would be a lot more bullish. We can start potentially holding this level. The current momentum is found here. So if we don't get that acceptance, we could likely be range bound and squeezed against this value area high off this momentum. Be range bound before coming up. When we have big crashes like this, we normally see consolidation because of the lack of confidence from traders and investors. It shakes them out, and it builds some. Usually takes time for people to chill a bit. And it does seem like the crash that we had was very retail driven crash, in confluence with the TA that we were able to use to identify that. But Bitcoin recovered so quickly as pairing liquidity pulled up Ethereum up really quickly and all these other assets up really quickly. So some of these have gone up without buyers, by the way. Like some of this doesn't require buyers to pull up the price action. When the liquidity banks go up in value, the asset can organically go up in value without buyers. And that's why these things move so tightly together most of the time. That's a whole separate lesson, but yeah, AR is doing the same thing as everything else right now. In a supply zone, supply concern, getting rejection off of it. We have a bit of a pullback here. So we lost this ascending channel. That was really tight ascending channel right here. You could only long this. You couldn't short any of that. There are people on the 3-minute time frame or the 1-minute time frame trading that for sure. But you only can long it. You can't. You just long the pullbacks and prepare for potential exits at the strong highs. Or at the highs, the weak highs, sorry. And the 1 minute's got like this double bottom structure. You can bring it right back up to here for the rejection to start bringing it back down. So it looks like it's probably winding up for another retest. The neckline break, then back down to here. The confluence of the neckline and the regression trend target. But that's by far the tightest regression trend that I've probably seen in years. We have what we got left. Black Seal, don't forget. Oh, jeez. I can't repeat that out loud. Did Bitcoin reject, or do we need a 102 broken? Bitcoin rejected on the 5-minute. So it would be based on 5-minute structure. So we have this neckline broke here. This is actually a change of character on the 5 because we got a higher high right here by a wick, but still counts. And the measurable base target is pretty weak. That's why I'm anticipating for us to go up higher first before actually having a full out correction, because the momentum suggests a small move to the downside. And right here to 100,000, 100,600. Yes, I don't think this is the correction. It's pretty young. Yeah, what I'm looking for is, at least on the 15-minute structure. On the 15-minute, this is just a pullback, right? We could hit that double top target on the 5 and then get a higher high, giving us that target being hit while also giving us the pullback that we need to get the break of structure continuation to get up here. If that pullback, when we get up here and we fail to get the value area high on the 15 and we create a structure, neckline structure, I would take that short for sure. As you progress higher and higher in the time frames when you're doing change of character trading, the 15 minutes very, very, very reliable. Just make sure you're doing it in the right spot. And we're in the right spot. This is definitely the either here or here. Preferably up here so we get the better risk to reward ratio. But we can't choose what the market gives us. Red dot indicator, my new favorite shape. Okay. Is it worth reading about Jim Simons and his fund? Maybe. I don't know who Jim Simons is. Surprisingly, Jim. Or maybe I do know him. It's mathematician. Oh, I know this guy. Yeah, of course I know this guy. Yeah. I could do research on that. Yeah. Whatever you think will give you an edge in the market. There's never anything wrong with that. OM to end the session. Okay, we'll do OM and then we'll do sushi and then I gotta go. I'm kind of over time already. Let's do OM. Binance. Oh, look at that. It got some relative strength on OM. Let's zoom out. Oh, dude. Look at that. The only thing that's not crashing right now. So what happened to it on Sunday? So we had... All right, so it just generated a pullback and didn't actually break its strong low. Right, this was the current strong low at the time. Came down pretty close to tapping it. And then we got the higher high generating, well, you'll be upset with your stop loss movement because you move your stop loss from here to here. But yeah, this thing's got some relative strength, man. What is this? OM. I've done TA on it before. I marked a level to prepare for a potential short, but never broke. That's a little demand zone. Zoom in on the hourly. Well, these are order blocks, not demand zone. Okay, same thing, really. Yeah, so we just had this break of structure continuation. I gotta do some research on this thing. Whenever you see a chart that's doing something unique, especially in the crypto space, because of pairing liquidity and how it influences a lot of assets to move the same way, you should do a lot of research on it to see if maybe it's an investment opportunity. Preferably before it does these massive runs, But a good eye on this, man. If we use the value area high, we confirmed that we're leaving the value area high here. When we had this pullback and we got the higher high. When you're at or above it, when you have those continuation breaks of structure, especially off of local resistance acting as support, it's a big warning sign that it's going to start moving to the upside. It fell down just like everything else did, but it didn't break its structure. Like it didn't do the change of character on the larger time frames. So right now it's kind of like in the air. Got another break structure on the 15-minute to spark this run up. So you're going to have to wait for consolidation to define a new entry, because right now it's super, super high risk. But it's really interesting that this thing's doing its own thing. Let me just look it up really quick. I know I've done TA on it multiple times before for people, but oh, I don't need to look it up that way. Mantra. Price rises after a new validator deal. Open interest reaches, okay. Open interest for all the new traders, this basically just means like when a large amount of like open positions start to open up, the fees start to scale. And it's a good indication that there might be something unique going on with an asset. Yeah, I'm going to do some research on this. Looks like you might have to watch out for unlocked dates, though. Where is that? Because when you're looking at what they're planning on doing with their funds, and you see that there's a lot of core contributors, you should watch out for unlocked dates that could spark crashes. Well, there's over here too. Okay, unlock price. So we have 45% unlocked, 54% locked. And you can look at, there's these on-chain tools you can use to give you the dates and stuff too. Would you short now? At what sign? If I were to look at this for a short opportunity, our current point of interest is here at this golden line. We might get a new one soon. So in order for us to get a new one, we need to have a pullback of at least 2 candles and then a higher high. And then we use that low as our point of interest for the change of character for a potential short. And a change of character alone isn't enough to enter a trade. But depending on where it is, it's important depending on where it is, it can be more important. You want to have confluences alongside with the change of character. A change of character is usually the final rule for like 90% of trading strategies out there. So yeah, this is our current area of interest on the 15-minute time frame. We have uptrending momentum right here. We deviated away from it a little bit. And think of momentum kind of like a magnet. When it deviates away, we tend to have a correction to it. Let's see what happens. Pretty cool. And Sushi was the other one. Sushi's got a burn rate and minting rate. So if you trade this, just be aware of that. Sushi. So its supply constantly adjusts and changes. So we got to pay attention to the burn days. And the burn days, if you see that it's going to burn on a specific day and you have a setup to prepare for a long, you can use those burn days in confluence with your long position. So Sushi came back down to this area of demand, which goes all the way as low as 44 cents, which is pretty wild. And we tapped it in confluence with this uptrending momentum on the daily. And there's the macro value area here that's an influence in the price action quite a bit. So this is a important value area low here that we're approaching. We want to see acceptance back inside this location here with a break of structure. But again, it's probably looking a lot like everything else when you zoom in. So you're seeing confluence of, like bearish confluence alongside this. Supply zone, previous VWAP reset, previous value area low. So if we make it up there, the first test will likely act as resistance. We have this current momentum on the 15-minute. We're building a regression trend, kind of like everything else. We're starting to confirm potential bearish divergence soon. In order for that to confirm, we need to actually close below this low, and then we'll see bearish divergence appear on your RSI. Yeah, that's when it'll confirm. So we want a higher high first, and then use this as our potential short. And that short will probably only bring you to here. Maybe here. But that's Sushi. Again, yeah, it's looking a lot like everything else. But please make sure with Sushi you pay attention to the burn days, because during those times, it can sometimes be like trading on an FOMC event where you got a large amount of volume all of a sudden, and then it goes back to normal. So just be aware of that with Sushi. I'm sure they have a burn schedule on their white paper. So if you look at Sushi's white paper, it'll tell you. Another good example is Pancake Swap. They mint quite a bit of supply, and then they burn every Friday. So every Friday, you got to prepare for a potential short-term bullish reaction. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We learned so much here with you. Oh, that's nice, man. I'm glad you guys are learning a lot. Michael, thanks for the shill there. Yeah, like and subscribe. It helps a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. We're doing a call again. Anyone who is part of the community, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning when we do our trade hunting and we look around for setups for us to trade off of. I'm hoping that we'll have a decent cool down from all this crazy volume that we got today to give us enough posture for really good setups tomorrow. I think that we should. We'll probably have a bit of a pullback, most likely, with some of these altcoins. And with Bitcoin, I'm hoping that we are range bound around this price. So when we do our trades tomorrow, we can have a core level of interest that we can watch and then trade off of together. It looks like we probably almost hit that double top on the 5. Not quite, no. So we're probably going to still going down a little bit more. And on the 15-minute, we'll see that higher high for the break of structure. But we're creeping our way back up there. And I'm thinking because we had such a volatile pump here, that we'll see a drop that will behave very similar to it with all the fair value gaps that we have along the way down. And only a really brief base right here. So this will be a demand zone that we watch when we have that correction around like 98,500. I might as well mark that now just so if anyone's looking at my chart link. There we go. A little demand zone here. All right, guys, you have an awesome day. Appreciate everyone jumping on here. But yeah, I got a new editor who's gonna be helping me a lot with creating some cool content on YouTube. So I'm excited to show you guys some stuff. But it's mostly gonna be educational videos, and then the lives will be about like trying to find some trades together. I thought a higher high was an indication of a long. So a higher high is an indication of a long at key areas of interest, but when you create a higher high, you also generate a new level of interest to prepare for shorts, because that's when you have a zone to prepare for a change of character. So if we got the higher high, then this level would become the area of interest for a short. But without it, then we don't have a level of interest to prepare us for a short unless we go into lower time frames, like the 5, for example. And when we go look at the 5, we can see something, right? We got a little bit of a higher high here. So when we break that, that becomes a change of character. Kyle keeps getting more beautiful. Oh, shucks. Thanks, man. The Otter Gang's here. All right, guys, I got to head out. Thanks again. You have an amazing day. Appreciate everyone who's been subscribing and liking. I've been noticing some growth over the weekend, even though I'm not even live during the weekend. So I appreciate everyone who's been sharing. Most likely you, Alex. I really appreciate you sharing my stuff, man. Have a great day, guys.